Well, good afternoon all. Andrew from ABFM here. As you can all see on the screen, that is my name. And ABFM is a company. And if you're really clued in, you'll also see that the date is Friday the 20th of October. Yes, at least this time I got it right. I think last time I put Thursday for some reason. So, yeah, I've obviously been given the opportunity to give my insight this week. Just to start off a little bit about the business that I think you all know anyway, but in case anybody doesn't. So we're a family business based up in Glasgow, and we offer advice on life insurance, health insurance, pensions and investments. And between myself and my father, the two advisors, we've got over 40 years of experience providing advice, which is every day is different and it's brilliant. We both love it. We've got 5 team members. Well, we've kind of got 5.5, as you can see. We've got 5 human members and 1 dog who comes into the office midweek quite often, although he's not in today. And as I said, we're based in Glasgow and offer advice on pensions, investments and protection. Protection being life insurance and health insurance, to name but a few. So for those who remember my last 10 minutes, I did it on some frequently asked questions that we got asked fairly regularly. So I thought it might be quite useful to do FAQ part 2 today. It kind of rhymes as well, but I thought it might be useful to share some of the new questions that we've also been asked recently. In my role as an independent financial advisor, and the keyword there in the slide is independent, and we'll come up to that in a couple of minutes' time because that does relate to one of the questions. So, and then probably the most common question that we get asked at the moment, unfortunately, we can't really answer part of it because it's when will the markets recover, or will the markets recover soon, and are the low markets still a result of COVID? The second part we can answer. No, the answer, they're not part of COVID. Yeah, the markets took a huge drop during COVID. And if I was to show you fund graphs, you would see the drop in them. And I might have shown some people fund graphs before. And there is a big drop around sort of towards the end of the first quarter of 2020. And it remained low for about 12 months. However, the markets then recovered and they actually started performing better than they did during COVID. COVID is still blamed for a lot of things, particularly in the financial services industry, in regards to slow reports for GP reports going back to underwriters, slow underwriting decisions, struggling to get through to help desks and insurance companies, etc. They're all still blamed on COVID because people are working from home and not in the office, etc. But we can't blame the market performance on COVID anymore. What we can blame the market performance on are the war in Ukraine, quite probably now also the war in Israel and Palestine. The upcoming general election will have an effect on it as well in a few months' time. As much as we probably know it's going to be a Labour government, we're probably going to get a change of government, but there is still that uncertainty. The benefit of that one is it will be fairly short term. Once the election results are done, the market should steady out again a little bit because it's all about uncertainty. And whether it's a Conservative government comes back in, whether it's a Labour government, doesn't really matter too much because it's a certainty for the next 5 years. Other things that have affected the market also include things like cost of living. However, unfortunately, I don't have that crystal ball, so I don't know when they're going to recover. The advice I do have to people is now is the time to put money into pensions, ISAs, etc., because you're getting more units for the money, and it's not the time to sell. So a lot of people ask about going into cash. It's not the time to do that. Stay in the stocks and the shares because, yeah, the markets are down. They will recover. It's been proven over time and over history. Markets go down and markets go up. So that's our advice to people. Question number 2. Why is your independent status important and does it affect me as a client? The one-word answer is yes, it does affect you as a client. As many of you may know, we recently joined a network called ValidPath. We'd looked into joining a network for a year or so. One of the reasons was it took over a lot of the compliance from us and it also reduced things like our PI insurance, etc. However, just about all of the networks we were looking to join wanted us to, or were forcing us to remove our independent status and we would be tied to a list of providers. However, the provider or the network we've gone to have said, no, you are still completely independent. We do not have a panel that you're restricted to. You can do whatever, whenever you want, which is a win-win for both parties. It was great for us and it was great for the clients. Why is it great for the clients? Well, it means that we still represent the clients 100% independently. We're not tied to the restriction of panels, and therefore we are able to give the best product advice based on the best product suited to that particular client's needs. So what might be right for Sean might not be right for Pam, and it might not be right for Vanessa Mary, but we can go to all 3 different providers if they're different. If we were stuck to a provider that had a restricted panel, and let's just say the company that was best suited for Sean wasn't on that panel, then that's too bad. We either cannot represent Sean, or Sean has to go elsewhere. Or sorry, we either have to go elsewhere or Sean goes elsewhere. So therefore, being independent allows us to represent the client fully, and only the client. We don't represent any insurance companies, and therefore we believe that gives the client the best returns, best opportunities, and the best advice, because it's based 100% on them and it's tailored to them 100%. Question 3, should I be prioritising my retirement planning or my life insurance? And again, you hear me talk every week about when's the best time to plant a tree. Best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. Best time to start a pension is 20 years ago. However, the same could be said for your life insurance, because if you don't do it today, you're older tomorrow. We'll throw in also the caveat, you could also die tonight, which would be a bit of a problem for life insurance, or you could be diagnosed with an illness. But the sooner you do it, your life insurance or your health insurance, etc., the younger you are, and therefore the cheaper you're going to be, because you're deemed as less of a risk. If you do something now and you do it again in 10 years' time, you'll be more expensive in 10 years' time. However, should you be prioritising the retirement planning or the life insurance? The correct answer would be both. Where affordable, you should try and do both. We use a model called PIPSI, P-I-P-S-I. The first 3 parts of PIPSI stand for protection, income, and pensions. So that's all about your life insurance. Then income is protecting your income, so your income protection, and then finally your pensions, that's PIP. Obviously, cost of living, things are a little bit more difficult. People don't have the same amount of money necessarily spare to spend on things like insurance or to spend on pensions. But where possible, we would always recommend putting them both fairly level, because at the end of the day, your retirement is hopefully going to be the longest holiday of your life, potentially 30, maybe even 40 years, depending when you retire. So yeah, you don't want to have lockdown 2.0 stuck inside your house, being unable to afford to do anything. But at the same time, you also don't want to be in a situation where if you pass away or take a critical illness, then your family are financially stuck because they relied on your income and you don't have something in place. Obviously, you'll never replace the lost person, but you can hopefully replace the financial burden that would be caused by that. And then last but not least, can my business pay for the services you advise on? Absolutely, 100%. You heard me speak in my 60-second presentation about the shareholder protection that we took out for a client, or the client took out through us, and also the medical insurance. He did that all through the business, one, because it lowered the corporation tax, but also because it's a good thing to do for your staff. It seems like a nice thing. It's a staff retention benefit, but more than that, it's an individual benefit for them. If they take on well, whether it be through work or not through work, they can claim on the company policy in their name. And hopefully it's a win-win, because they'll get seen much quicker, but also hopefully they'll be back to work a lot quicker rather than potentially having to wait 6 months in the NHS, etc. And they don't have to pay for it because it goes through the business and it lowers the business's corporation tax. So just before we finish up, a quick run through of some of the testimonials that are on our website. We've both some in videos, some are on text. So ABFM puts you first. They really care about you. I would 100% recommend Andrew and ABFM. Excellent service, trustworthy and easy to understand. Personalised service, honest and straightforward, no flannel or sales pitch, does what is required. Extensive knowledge, attention to detail, easy to speak to, and I have complete faith in his ability. I'm more than willing to listen to his advice and act upon it. And the underlying theme for me within these are that we don't speak technological, insurance company or pension financial jargon. I might be the expert, my father might be the expert in the financial services field. Our clients are not necessarily experts in the field, and they might not understand the jargon and the terminology that is used. I could list off a load of different words, which I know what they mean, and you would be thinking, what is he talking about? You're therefore going to feel uncomfortable. You're not going to be certain of what we're talking about, and it will maybe impact your decision. So talk in a language that makes sense to everybody, you'll understand it, and therefore you understand fully what we're doing. And the other thing that I think that highlights there is that we're approachable. Our clients feel that they can approach us, not just during the meetings, but also we're at the end of the phone, they can pick up the phone and speak to us and know that we'll be there to help them. And if we can't help them at that particular moment, we'll go and find out how we can help them and we'll come back to them. And I think that's the key for us as a business, that we put our clients first. We treat our clients as individuals. They're not numbers, they are individuals. And last but not least, we are approachable for them. So thanks so much for listening, guys. Andrew from ABFM, where we allow you to live for today and plan for tomorrow. Does anybody have any questions?